thank all of our panelists for being here. I agree with you, Ms. McKinnon. This is a very complex issue. I, like everybody else on the dais here, are great believers of the First Amendment. It's first because it's the most important. Anything Congress does to try to make exceptions is always suspect. But the Immigration and Nationality Act, Section 219, says that no one can aid a foreign terrorist organization. So we're not talking about some individual who makes some comments on the Internet that's tweeting something. The first requirement is that it's a foreign terrorist organization that is doing this. It seems to me that that legislation giving aid to a foreign terrorist organization was upheld in the Holder versus Humanitarian Law Project in 2010. I think that is the only case where the Supreme Court addressed the issue of Internet free speech in foreign terrorist organizations. So we set aside all those other folks out there that are saying things on the Internet. And that I'd like to just address that specific issue. Foreign terrorist organization, a member of a foreign terrorist organization, recruiting folks in jihad, radical jihadists, to kill other people like Americans. What suggestions specifically, other than the one Mrs. McKinnon has made, several that she's made, do any of the rest of you have on that specific issue, how we should deal with that? I know that companies vary, and many are, I think, trying to cooperate and bring down these sites on their own. Mr. Coleman, would you like to weigh in on that question? Foreign terrorist organization, member of foreign terrorist organization, using the Internet to recruit jihadists to kill folks, being very specific about that question.
Sure. I think to the average person, the idea of how would you find terrorist propaganda on Twitter or how to find the important parts, it sounds like a gargantuan task. But the reality is that the companies we're talking about already have the technology which is capable of doing this without human intervention. And how do I know that? It's the same reason that when you go on YouTube or Twitter, you don't see child pornography. You don't see stolen commercial videos. There's a reason for that. It's not just happenstance. The reason is because of the fact that the companies that operate those social media platforms have a strict policy when it comes to things like child pornography and stolen copyrighted material, and they have proactive means of removing them. The exact same way that they remove that material, they can also remove terrorist propaganda. It's just a matter of switching the search terms, the hash values, the images that they're looking for. The answer is that they don't have an incentive to do that right now.
And what should that incentive be?
Well, look, right now there is no legal remedy for anyone in the event that these companies are hosting a terrorist website. I mean, Twitter has never been sued and it's never been held criminally liable or civilly liable by anyone, And the answer is because of the fact that the way that right now Internet hosting provider law is written, an Internet hosting provider, if they don't have active knowledge of what's going on, they're not really responsible. And look, I don't want to crack down on the freedom of speech, and I don't want to make Internet companies responsible for everything that their users do when there are some things that their users do we'll never really be able to know about. But there is a certain level of basic responsibility that companies like Twitter and Cloudflare are failing to meet. We're not asking that they find every single terrorist website or they shut down every single terrorist video, just to make a best effort. And anyone who says that the effort that's being made right now is a best effort has no idea what they're talking about.
Okay. I have a question for you, Ambassador. Once again, I'm talking specifically not about terrorists. I'm talking about members of a foreign terrorist organization, which the law specifically addresses currently. Ambassador Wallace, the FBI follows these chats, and they don't seem to encourage the bringing down of some of this Internet material because they want to follow the bad guys all over the world, what they're saying, who they are, et cetera. What is your reaction to that?
Very clear that the intelligence value of having everything open and accessible is incredibly overstated. It's very much like, with due respect, the demagoguery associated that somehow we're all talking about impairing First Amendment rights. All of us support the First Amendment here, but this isn't free speech. This is hate speech. And I think that having previously served in our government and been a consumer of our intelligence data, we have so many good tools that allow us to track the, terrorist activity that we don't need to solely rely on the open forums. The value of taking down these recruiters, these propagandizers, far exceeds the intelligence value that we would get from fully tracking these individual users of social media. So I think it's very clear. Maybe at one point when there were only a few, a long time ago, there might have been intelligence value. But right now, the Internet is awash with those that would propagandize, recruit, and incite terror. We have to take it down, and as J.M. said, it matters. It has an effect.
The Chair will yield to the ranking member 5 minutes for his questions of the panel.